Tesla robots in every home.
Hmm.
That's Elon Musk's latest vision.
We're taking a deep dive into Tesla's Optimus robot today, straight from the source. This BNet AI news article covering the recent Robot event. Is Optimus a giant leap forward or more hype than substance?
Well, there's always a lot of buzz around Musk's announcements, and rightfully so. But it's important to look beyond the headlines and understand the actual technology being presented. What's interesting here is that Optimus isn't being marketed as a novelty. It's being marketed as a potential game changer in automation on a global scale.
Musk claims Optimus could handle everything from walking our dogs to mixing cocktails. He even mentioned babysitting. We're not just talking about a glorified Roomba here. This is a pretty bold claim, a robot that can tackle just about anything. What are your thoughts on that? It's certainly ambitious. Let's take the example of Optimus folding clothes. There was that viral video earlier this year. And now we have a new demo from the event. The article highlights both, but it makes you wonder, how significant is this progress? Is this truly advanced robotics or just clever programming? To claim Optimus will eventually do anything you can think of requires a level of dexterity and problem solving that current robotics is nowhere near achieving.
Let's break that down a bit. What makes human-level dexterity so difficult for robots to replicate?
Okay, so think about something as simple as picking up a coffee mug. It requires incredibly complex hand-eye coordination. The ability to adjust your grip on the fly based on the weight and material of the mug, these are things humans do effortlessly. But for robots, it requires incredibly complex algorithms and sensory feedback.
So while the demos might show Optimus performing specific tasks, the bigger question is how it adapts to new situations, to the unpredictable nature of, say, a busy kitchen or a crowded sidewalk.
Exactly, and that's a key factor in determining just how revolutionary Optimus will be.
Okay, so we've got Musk's grand vision. But what about the practicalities? The article mentions Optimus will cost somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000. Surprisingly affordable. Cheaper than a lot of new cars.
A $20,000 robot does sound like a steal, right? But that makes you wonder, is Tesla aiming for mass adoption from the get-go? Even if it means taking a loss on each unit sold? It's a bold strategy, especially considering the technology is still under development.
So they're dangling this incredibly appealing price tag, but then, no win. Radio silence on when you can actually get your hands on one. The article just mentions mass production is on the horizon, which doesn't tell us much. What's your take on this lack of a concrete release date?
It's classic Tesla, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generate massive excitement and leave people wanting more. They've done it with cars, with space travel, and now with robotics. It's a brilliant marketing tactic, right? But it also raises questions about their timeline. Are they deliberately building anticipation, or are they still grappling with unforeseen technical challenges?
It's interesting that you mentioned the lack of a release date being a classic Tesla move. It makes you wonder if this is about more than just selling robots. Are they trying to disrupt the entire industry to become the go-to name in robotics even before the product is readily available?
It's certainly a possibility. By setting these ambitious goals and timelines, Tesla could be trying to attract top talent in the field, to position themselves as the leader in a rapidly evolving market.
And let's not forget the cool factor. People love to talk about what Tesla is doing. Even if it's still years away from reality, it's like they've hacked the hype cycle.
Absolutely. But even with all the buzz, there's one crucial aspect the demos haven't really touched on: speech. We've seen Optimus walk, attempt to fold clothes, but we haven't heard it utter a single word.
That's true. And it makes me think about what we really want from a humanoid robot. The article touches on this, hinting that future versions of Optimus might include speech. But how important is that really? Will it be a deal breaker if Optimus can make a perfect martini but can't tell a good knock-knock joke?
That's the question, isn't it? The idea of having a robot companion, like those iconic characters from Star Wars, taps into a deep-seated human desire for connection and assistance. But teaching a machine to understand and respond to human language, let alone crack jokes, is a huge challenge in the field of AI.
So even if they can program Optimus to respond to simple commands, we're still a long way from having genuine conversations with our robot buddies.
Exactly. Natural language processing, which is what allows AI to understand and communicate through language, is still in its infancy. There are so many nuances to human conversation: sarcasm, humor, emotional context,
Yeah.
that are incredibly difficult for AI to grasp.
It's fascinating to think about. We often focus on the physical capabilities of robots, but the ability to communicate effectively might be the true game changer when it comes to integrating them into our lives.
I completely agree. It's the difference between a machine that can perform tasks and a companion that we can truly interact with. But even if Optimus could chat about the weather, it begs the question, what will ultimately make a robot like this successful? Is it pure functionality? Or is there something to be said for a robot that can mimic human interaction, like those created by Boston Dynamics?
There's that Boston Dynamics comparison again. I have to admit, I'm a bit fascinated by their robots. They're mind-blowing to watch. But how does their approach, with the focus on agility and complex movement, stack up against Tesla's more practical, task-oriented Optimus?
It's a classic battle, the specialized athlete versus the versatile all-rounder. Boston Dynamics robots are undeniably impressive, but their focus has been on pushing the boundaries of what robots can physically do. Tesla, on the other hand, seems to be betting on Optimus being the robot you'll actually want in your living room.
It's like comparing a world-class gymnast to a helpful personal assistant. Both impressive in their own right, but serving very different purposes. Does Boston Dynamics' focus on agility give them a long-term advantage? Or is Tesla's emphasis on practicality more likely to resonate with consumers?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Will we be wowed by robots that can do backflips, or will we ultimately gravitate towards those that can fold our laundry and make us a cup of coffee? Tesla seems to be betting on the latter,
Hmm.
and maybe they're onto something. People want convenience, and a robot that can handle everyday tasks has the potential to be incredibly appealing.
Right. It's one thing to watch a robot dance in a YouTube video, and another entirely to actually trust one in your home, interacting with your family, handling your belongings.
Exactly. And that's where Tesla's focus on affordability comes into play. A $20,000 robot, even if it's not perfect, is still within reach for a lot of people. It lowers the barrier to entry and makes the idea of owning a robot seem much more attainable.
It's a fascinating strategy. Make it affordable, make it practical, and people will find it hard to resist, even if it's not quite as flashy as some of the other robots out there. But of course, all of this hinges on Optimus actually working as promised.
There's that word again. Promise. And that's what it all boils down to at this point. Tesla has a history of setting ambitious goals and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But they've also had their share of delays and setbacks.
So, as excited as we might be about the potential of Optimus, a healthy dose of skepticism is probably a good idea at this point.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time to be following the development of robotics, but it's important to remember that we're still in the early stages. The technology is evolving rapidly, and what seems revolutionary today could be obsolete tomorrow.
It's a good reminder that the future of robotics, like the robots themselves, is still being written. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've gone from unpacking Elon Musk's latest pronouncements to pondering the very nature of what makes a robot successful. Is it agility? Is it practicality? Is it the ability to understand and respond to our needs? It's something to keep in mind as we watch this technology unfold in the coming months and years. What will Optimus ultimately become? A helpful assistant? A disruptive force in the labor market? Or something else entirely? Only time